A few days ago, the BBWAA released the official voting for the 2023 MLB Hall of Fame, and with all due respect to all 28 candidates on the ballot, let's just say that this year did not feature the strongest Hall of Fame class. Despite there being many notable names like Carlos Beltran, Alex Rodriguez, Todd Helton, Billy Wagner, etc., only one person out of these 28 players received the required 75% of the votes, and that was Scott Rowland, who barely snuck in at a voting percentage of 76.3%. So after 6 years on the ballot, congrats to him for finally getting in. Looking at Rowland's career stats, he's a guy who probably deserves it. I mean, nothing really jumps out at you in terms of his career stats, but there are definitely worse players who made it in over him, so who really cares? But this video isn't about Scott Rowland. It's about the Baseball Hall of Fame as a whole, and how the prestigious honor of being an MLB Hall of Famer has been tainted over the years. Before I get into it, welcome to the War Room, a channel where I discuss all things sports related. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight to it. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the headlines that the MLB Hall of Fame makes is different from other sports just for the simple fact that there's always some sort of controversy involved in it. I like to think of it this way. In basketball, there's the Jordan-LeBron debate. Everyone has their own opinion on who they think the GOAT is, and regardless of whichever side you're on, you can literally never prove who is better. But that doesn't stop people from debating about it for hours. Honestly, the Jordan-LeBron GOAT argument is probably the greatest sports debate of all time. But to baseball fans, we have our own version of the Jordan-LeBron debate, and that is, do steroid users belong in the Hall of Fame? Which is the first major point of this video, because whether you want to blame the league for not letting them in, or blame the players for taking performance-enhancing drugs and doing it to themselves, I think we can all agree that having players who statistically are some of the greatest of all time not in the Hall of Fame isn't a good look for Major League Baseball. For example, Barry Bonds, who is the face of MLB's steroid era, is the all-time leader in home runs. He's won 7 MVP awards, while no other player in the history of baseball has ever won more than 3 MVPs. Roger Clemens has a record 7 Cy Young awards, with the next closest being Randy Johnson with 5. A-Rod is a 14-time All-Star with 3 MVPs and is top 5 all-time in home runs and RBIs. Non-steroid user Roger Maris held the single-season home run record after hitting 61 home runs in 1961. That record stood for 37 years until Mark McGwire hit 70 and Sammy Sosa hit 66 in the same season in 1998, who, by the way, were both taking steroids. And then both of these records were broken just 3 years later when Barry Bonds hit 73 on steroids. Again, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole of giving my opinion if these guys should be in Cooperstown or not, but I will say this. People who believe these players should be inducted believe that because these players are on the outside looking in, that the credibility of the Hall of Fame is tarnished. Whether the players had an unfair advantage or not, many fans will claim that it doesn't matter because their dominance during this era was a staple in baseball history that can't be denied. The second reason why many people think the MLB Hall of Fame has zero credibility is the fact that Pete Rose isn't in. Since 1989, Pete Rose has been banned from Major League Baseball for life as a punishment for betting on games when he managed the Cincinnati Reds. Though there has never been any proof that he ever bet against the Reds, he only ever bet on them to win. Obviously, betting on games is something that players, managers, GMs, and really anyone connected to a team can't do. So I do think Pete Rose did deserve some sort of punishment. But being banned from baseball for life, which includes any Hall of Fame induction, is way too harsh. Pete Rose holds the all-time hits record with 4,256, and it's a record that may not ever be broken. So again, one of the best players to ever be part of the game is not in the Hall of Fame for a completely different reason. And the final reason why the Hall of Fame is a joke now is because of Derek Jeter. Until Mariano Rivera's induction in 2019, no player had ever made the Hall of Fame unanimously, but Mariano received 425 out of 425 votes and made history. The very next year, in 2020, it was Derek Jeter's turn. He ranks 6th all-time in hits, he had a .310 career batting average, he was a Rookie of the Year, 14-time All-Star, 5 Gold Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers, and 5 World Series championships, and was the World Series MVP. But there was one voter out of the 425 who said he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Now, to most people, this might not seem like a big deal because there's no incentive to being voted in unanimously, but I remember watching the K-Rod cast on ESPN this past season when Roger Clemens was on as a guest. Michael Kay asked Clemens if it bothers him that he isn't in the Hall of Fame despite being one of the best pitchers ever, and he used Derek Jeter not being voted in unanimously as a reason why he doesn't care too much about not being in the Hall of Fame. If a guy like Jeter can't even receive 100% of the votes, then clearly there's something wrong with the voting that's out of anyone's control. An MLB Hall of Fame induction is supposed to be the most prestigious honor a player can receive, and it always will be, because it's the Hall of Fame. But the integrity of the Baseball Hall of Fame is very suspect, which is why I believe the honor isn't cared about by fans or even some players as much as it should be. But that wraps up this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.